Toastmasters. We were very fortunate to have no addresses. Please help me welcome Mary Peter as she gives us the second part of his propeller speech he's going to give the Chicago Boat Club.
Thank you. I found it rather interesting. I was off on the internet and discovered a nice interaction between a sailor and a pirate. Believe it or not. The sailor was in the bar with a pirate, and the sailor looks at the pirate, and the pirate's got a wooden leg, and he's got a hook on one hand, and he's got an eye patch on. So the sailor asked the pirate, "Oh, how did you get the wooden leg?" He says, "Oh, we had a man overboard in a storm. I jumped in, hauled him out, and just as we were getting him in, a shark nipped me leg off." Ah, that's great. Wonder how that really worked out for you. Well, how did you lose the hook? Get the hook. And he says, "Oh, we were boarding a galleon one day, and the bullets were flying, and the axes were chopping, and they got my arm hooked off. But, everything's okay with that." And finally I asked him, he says, "Well, how'd you lose your eye?" And he says, "Bird gun." And I said, "How did that happen?" He says, "Well, I looked up, got some in the eye, and it was my first day with the hook." So, as you can tell, you do get a little humor once in a while. Now, where we left off was that we had gotten through some of the requirements of the propellers. And the one in particular we were working on, and just getting ready to start, was the requirements for the motors.
Can you turn down the lights there?
Yes, I was just going to say, we can turn down the lights a little bit here. I also played with this thing. Okay. And the thing with the motors is that most everybody knows their motor. Yes, they know one thing. They know what the horsepower is. The questions here know that not all horsepower is created equal. The perch you're on for the draft horse is not the same as the riding horse, which is not the same as the pony. Well, our engine manufacturers have kept up with that tradition, and they will tell you a horsepower at an RPM. And then they proceed to confuse the issue and tell you, well, we have the peak horsepower, the continuous horsepower, the minimum horsepower, the horsepower that we cruise at, the horsepower for mileage, and you have all these horsepowers, and finally you're sitting there, well, just tell me which one do I want to use. Well, typically if you're going to size a prop, you're simply going to use a continuous horsepower because you want to run the prop at a continuous pace. It's not the same as the maximum. So once you sorted through that, you have a pretty good idea. The next thing we're going to need, oh, there we go. We ran across another definition I thought was pretty cool. Engine, a device that works on the internal destruction principle that drives the average sailboat at speeds approaching a furlong per fortnight. The other thing you need to know about your boat that most people always seem to forget is the gear ratio. Now, they know what the motor speed is, but they don't know what the propeller speed is, and that's calculated from a gear ratio. And is that important? Not really. It's only important if you want to get the right prop. Like the typical manufacturer, which is Yanmar, makes their engines in 3 different gear ratios. 2.2 to 1, 2.6 to 1, and 3.2 to 1. They require 3 different propeller sizes, 13-inch, 15-inch, and 11-inch. So when you're filling out your little forms, which I showed you last week, make sure that you get the gear ratio. What you may have to do is get your little kid to crawl back down in the engine compartment someplace with a flashlight and read off to you the numbers on the gearbox transmission, because nobody knows really where that is. Nobody remembers it. When I come to these boat shows, I never, ever expect to sell a prop. For the simple reason is nobody knows your gear ratio. So why bother to bring the props? I'll take your money and say, well, give me a call, but I won't sell you the prop. You probably don't know what it is. The other thing that we need to know about motors are, what are its indicators? What's happening with your motor? Yeah? Is it smoking? Got that black smoke, you know, it looks like 4 or 5 guys down in there smoking marijuana, blowing the smoke out the back, and it's turned black. Think of the Sistine Chapel, you know, when they the black smoke. Also, if you're rubbing down your boat and you have this nice white boat with a black sooty side, you got a prop problem. We can help fix that. Then the other one is, you're out there trying to get the very best you can. You throw the throttle forward. The engine goes up to 4,000 RPM, even though it's only rated at 36. You got it at 4,000 RPM, and the boat's cruising along at 1-2 knots. Something's wrong with your prop or it fell off. So you got to make sure that you do know what it is. The boat should, these props should let the motor get up roughly to the maximum RPM. And then we need to know what boat speed it is at that. That helps. Now you have the sheet. Here's where you get the information. The diameter for the prop, typically you can come off the measurement, the survey. The pitch, the only thing you can do is take it off the hub stamp, and I can measure it, but you don't have the equipment. The shaft, the prop shaft, you can measure that right where it comes out of the boat. You need to know whether it's right or left hand. You can inspect for that. I'll have a photo later for that. And whether it's fixed, folding, or feathering, it makes a difference. There's roughly what a prop marking looks like. I don't know if you can see it here, but if you look closely, you'll find it's scattered with small barnacles. And in there is a marking 14x12 right hand, meaning the first number is usually the diameter. The second number is the pitch. Pitch is how far the boat would travel in one revolution and 100% efficiency. And it says RH, standing right hand. Props come in right and left hand, just like people do. You know, you don't try to put a left hand, don't force a left-hander to go with the right hand if you can help it. Here's a little chart here that's in the handouts that you can identify the size of shaft that the propellers are going to fit. And you can look at a propeller that's off, and the shaft sizes are tapered, so you really can't tell what they are just simply by measuring them. You have to have a little bit of a chart. Here's a chart you can look at later. Right or a left-hand prop. Here's a chart for that. A right-hand prop, if you have the blade straight up and you're looking at it like this, and the part of the blade, you're going to have the blades twisted. One part is close to you, the other part is farthest away. If the part that's farthest away to you is to your right-hand side, it's a right-hand prop. Nice and simple. It always works that way. Now, when you fill out that chart and paper that we gave you, we got a lot of information from you. You're going to say, well, what the heck are you going to do with all that? The first thing we're going to look at is your boat data. Maximum displacement of the vessel in pounds.